when AI started sort of approaching, like how much of it was exciting, how much of it was, oh, I thought we learned from Terminator Rise of the Machines, you know, like...
You know, like the Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
It's in that order. Until you understand what the power of this thing is, then you realize you actually need a bit more responsibility in wielding this thing.
So in pop culture right now, we're using this app called Epic, E-P-I-K. Now, this may sound like an unfamiliar app, but it's taken a lot of money from us. I gave it $9. They'll ask me for 8 to 12 photos, and then they'll churn out these 90s yearbook photos. You will definitely have seen it on Instagram, on Facebook. People have a laugh about it. It's really quite incredible. But they asked me to agree to these terms and conditions, everything. I just click. You want my information? Sure, go ahead. You want $9? Sure, go ahead. Just give me my photos. But just like that, they caught me, right? And I think I'm relatively safe. Okay, but what is your assessment of something like this?
So when we talk about personal data, nothing more personal and identifiable than your face. So...
Hey, you scare me now.
Yeah, this is the top personal data. And exactly what you mentioned, right? When we did the study, there are these photo apps that mention in their terms of use, they can use the data you submit, i.e. your face, for their further training. Some of them even worse. They said, okay, we can now use the data you submitted for ourselves and our partners in future.
Stop, you're making me get goosebumps.
So it may not be as sinister, but it's commercializing your information with no compensation. Of course, sinister, it could be then used for other purposes, right? I think one of the biggest concerns is deepfaking.
Yeah, so deepfaking is when they take our face and then they plant it on someone else, like Donald Trump rapping, for example, you know?
Exactly. And if you have not heard the latest AI voice, they have the inflection just like you.
Yeah.
Can be sad, happy, can sigh, has breathing.
Yeah. We have a game on our show called Is It AI, where we play like clips and then people have to guess whether it's real or not, and to a point where some people say, oh my god, this is AI, but no, it's a real Miley Cyrus song, but people just couldn't even figure it out anymore.
Exactly. And right now, some of the AI, they actually now start to practice some ethical principles in there. For example, this company called ElevenLabs, right? You can actually get the thing to say the same thing in different languages. But for the even HeyGen, this particular app, they do not allow you to actually plant words that they did not say in other languages. So they block you from making deepfakes so easily, right? But again, this HeyGen tool, the thing, it has the movement of your lips, even you're speaking Malay, Chinese, whatever, right? It looks really real, you're blinking and all that.
Should the regular, everyday Singaporean be worried?
So there comes the ethical and privacy concerns, right? So when you actually are using these apps, the two things you look at is the privacy policy and the terms of use. But you see, sometimes it's so obfuscated, you can't even understand what the heck they're saying, and it's so hard to click.
Yeah.
So who are the trusted companies?
So what have you found through your study so far?
Well, the data protection regulation is mandatory, right? And what we found in some of these apps, especially international one, they are GDPR compliant. Okay, so GDPR is the Europe standard and probably the strictest in the world. So 60% then say, okay, we have GDPR in their privacy policy. But interestingly enough, half of those fellas do not have the right clauses, and we suspect it's actually auto-generated, copy and pasted. Many of these startups, I don't think they understand some of the data privacy regulations, but they can go and generate something out that's copy and pasted. Why? Because you need this actually when you put it up on the App Store. In the App Store, you declare your data safety and all that. So you just say, yeah, tick, we have. But when you read it further, which is what we did, you say, hang on, this is not quite right because it just has very lightweight statements versus the guys who know, and actually they have layered notices. So speaking of layered notices, when you're clicking on this thing, they'll tell you maybe 2-3 things. This is what we'll be doing. This is what we're collecting. The rest doesn't. Oh, we're not collecting the data. Then you click further, they actually collected your camera, your voice, your calendar, your contacts, everything. Even they don't look at your personal data, they actually look at your chat history and then say, okay, this trend, this guy seems to like this.
Very disgusting. Hey, that means, right, you live in like the basement, is it? Like your lights off, everything, you don't use your phone at all. I imagine, because you have so much knowledge, because for the everyday Singaporean, we don't know, And we also think like, my information not that... I don't have that much money in my bank anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like, but for you have such knowledge. Do you use these apps? Are you super protective?
Well, I mean, in my business, it's part of our thing to go and try apps. I try 100 apps maybe every week. But I scan my computer twice a day, right? So
Wow.
and my phones. And I think it's not about the Terminator thing creeping out to get you, right?
Hasta la vista, baby.
It's the misuse of your data that you're more concerned about, right? So, of course, there's some malicious actors who just grab your thing. So what happened with these ChatGPT extensions people downloaded? One hacker managed to just copy exactly the same name. When you download the extension, it still functions, but it actually caught your session for Facebook advertising. And then they start using a Facebook account for advertisement.
Wild.
So get yourself educated. There is a whole new career for the AI business professional who knows these three things: the value of the AI, how to evaluate the risk in due diligence, and last, of course, put appropriate controls. This job paying a lot of money, $250,000 to $1 million, and you do not require to be an expert in AI.